But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody and welcome to another, I usually say evening of races, but here in the UK it's midday, so it's the first of many Saturday streams. And honestly, looking at the riders nearby list, I can't wait because we've got so many new names in here. We get so many new race dynamics because on Saturdays or on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the Zone K's and the Zone L's, we see some of the few people, so the same teams, but here we've got so many new people. So you're watching the CVRcade World Cup. We're at the end of the second week of racing, and this is the tournament, the World Cup, where they're racing for the overall prize purse of $25,000. We're currently in the open sessions. Here's where they gather points in order to qualify into the bracketed session. There, the daily prize money in every Omnium starts to jump up and become quite significant. So far, $2,000 have been paid out in week one, so that's a lot of money. And now tonight, or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, the US it's the morning, in Asia it's the evening, here in Europe it's midday. We're gonna have some good racing ahead of us. We're starting with Echelon, then we move on to Roman Arena. These are our no skill and low skill events, and then we finish the racing off with a high skill event on Mountain Bike by Jesper, and then a medium skill event on Saturn. So it's gonna be fun. But let's go talk to one of the people racing and broadcasting in today. It's his preferred zone. You know him, friend of the broadcast, Timothy Termont. It's you and Thomas Tibbling who's got this as your preferred zone. Head to head, you still gotta perform. How are you feeling today, my man?
Oh, head to head? Oh, let's go. No, I'm a bit tired. I haven't woken up much time before this, so yeah. It's going to be a good warm-up this first race. That's what I like about the no-skill event. It's a nice warm-up.
Can we take a moment to just note down that Timothy said he's a bit tired because he's just woken up. Kayla, Sharon, Beth, Frank, from wherever they are in the US,
yeah,
it ranges between 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. and it's currently 1 p.m. Timothy, prior to us getting set up, we saw you have a special preparation for the racing tonight. Talk me through this this strategy of fueling for the racing tonight.
It's called breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't eaten anything, so I just thought I'd get some quick sugars in. Hopefully it helps. We'll see in the second race how good it is. We'll
see. You did end up on Thursday winning the Zone L no skill event. You timed your sprint to perfection. Are we going to see a repeat of that here in Echelon, or what's going to happen
I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I think I got it down pretty well, so just going to see if I got the big kick to get away from the group on time. So yeah, we're going to see. It's going to be a great race.
Loving it. Well, thank you very much, Timothy. I'll let you rest up, maybe get some more breakfast in before the racing gets underway. Also broadcasting in tonight, we've got Beth York, who is in the racing. You can see back on the broadcast. Shades of Love are back in fashion. We have Sadeo Ikiba, who is broadcasting in for the first time tonight as well, so it's good to see him in amongst the action. The Flying Dutchman, who made his return to racing last week. It's good to see him in the broadcast as well. Timothy Termont, you've already seen. Victor Lundqvist, the executive producer. He's got, for some reason, his washing up liquid there, so maybe he'll try to erase all his mistakes in the broadcast tonight. Then Joyce the Smith from Velocity Vixen is also in here, as the start has been given for the first race here in Zone E. Out of the gun. She's trying, I think she may be on a keyboard. So she's on keyboard power for the first one. So as she's pedaling, nothing is really happening. So sometimes when you're joining into the racing. So if you're Joyce, the only thing you can do now, unfortunately, is wait for the next event, join another track, and then get back in. As you can see, Frank in the early mornings over in the United States also getting in amongst the racing. So if you're Joyce, you just got to get ready, join the next event. But before doing that, making sure to press T to change to the Ant Plus or Bluetooth devices. So at the front, Thomas Tippling is the other rider with this as his preferred zone. The Swede has been getting in there, he's been racing, and as he races more, as he rides more in CVRcade, his confidence level within the game, his rank within CVRcade increases from Cade Cadet to Cade Competitor to eventually to Master and Pro. And the higher up you get, the better experience you're going to have, and we're seeing that with Thomas today, and I'm excited to see how that pans out. So here on Echelon, we've got 2 laps. It's the no skill event, so you know the trick by now. Certain power-ups are enabled as abilities: Quantum Shift, Corner Caper, Uncrashable, and it most often comes down to the sprint at the line. So we'll see who it's gonna be. Everybody looking around. It's awesome to see Beth York back into the broadcast again tonight. It's been a while since we've had the always smiling Beth in there. We're going to see now as it gets underway. Santiago just off the back from Spain. He's in amongst the action. Homer Thompson, the man of the people who won that fantastic stage on Hypnotic Highway on Thursday, is also in amongst the action here. As we look around, Sebastian Kuhn, the very ruthless, brutal, and savage racer, as Timothy. I think he's singing along to some music. I'm not sure what that is. He's definitely head bobbing. So wondering if we can get a few words afterwards to see just whether it's Europop or maybe even some more hardcore heavy metal as Timothy Tamont gets ready. 2.3 kilometers to go. So in these no skill events, you've seen them time and time again. That final kick, that final sprint finish, this is the straightaway, they turn left, and that will be it next time around, is so difficult. Because you gotta be on it, because if you go too early, everyone else will be drafting you. If you go too late, you run out of real estate. So those are the dilemmas you've got to work with, as we see all sort of different riders in amongst the action here. Peter Kastrup in the yellow kit. Change the camera angle, so we're used to seeing the entire room. Now we can see the bikes on the wall, but you can see calm and composed. 1.8 kilometers to go. The way the Omnium is set up is that we've got 4 races. You start with a no-skill event, then a low-skill event, and then throughout the progression, the races become tougher and tougher and more technical. So in this first one, it's about warming up the legs, warming up the mind, and getting ready, and then gathering points, because it's all about these points, as you can see that moving up around. Now, there is a bit of a change in the in-game widget today, as you can see that white line at the top, so we may not be able to bring that up at all times. But 1.4 kilometers to go. You can see the results down below next to the minimap widget if you want to see them in live updates as well, as we get closer and closer to the finish line. Who has had their cup of tea? Who's had their breakfast? Who's maybe had an espresso or 2 or maybe even 3? I mean, you gotta get wired somehow. 1 kilometers to go. They're gonna turn around here. Ikebe is in here, Beth York is in here, and everybody's starting to get anxious because now they know this is time to get serious. This is where you have to make a move, or you have to wait for somebody else to make the move. Beth York, Velocity Vixen. She's the only one flying. Sorry, she had Joyce in earlier, but due to her being on the wrong power source, she wasn't able to catch with the front. Now, of course, this is for the Omnium, it's detrimental, but you still got stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 to make it up. 700 meters to go. Who will it be? We got one of the 2 Swedes in the racing today, Victor Lundqvist, rocking those Stevie Wonder glasses. Yeah, doesn't have to worry about crashing just yet in this one, But you never know as he accelerates. Peter Kastrup off to an early start. He's going all out from here. Peter Kastrup with 400 meters to go is laying everything on the line. 300 meters, 250. Can he keep this up? Homer Thompson, his teammate, is actually laying down the power behind him. 200 meters to go. Timothy Tamont is next in line as he's sprinting everybody. 1-on-1. It's going to be so close to the finish line. Peter Kastrup does it. What an attack from the Flying Dutchman, as you see the visual representation of just what that took out of him. But the courage that took to make that attack really says something about the mentality. Here you see Peter, he attacked with 400 meters to go and coming in and then trying to stay on it, and to get that scoring multiplier, he really just nailed it. Timothy, realizing that the ship may have sailed, gave it everything, throwing down 1,000, 1,100 equalized watts, and coming through the line, it just wasn't enough. The shake of the head. But oh my goodness, let's hear from Peter, because that was something special. Peter, that attack, at what point did you know you were going to do that? Because I've not seen that before in no-skill racing.
After the first lap, I thought we were going very slow, and I expected everyone to wait for the last 200 meters. And I thought, well, maybe a surprise attack will work. But man, it was longer than I thought. And I thought they would catch me, but luckily they didn't. So very pleased with that one. So maybe we can get a bit of different racing in the first events. Not just waiting, but also trying to attack.
I like it. Taking the bulls by the horn. That was impressive, Peter. Now the question is, will you be paying for that effort here in the second event? Because we've got 4 laps of Roman coming up. How do the legs feel?
Right now they don't feel very good, but it's just a sprint of 400 or 500 meters. So I guess I should be okay. But we'll find out soon enough.
I like it. Team CCC, you've got Homer up there as well. Good luck in the next race, Peter. I like the courage that took to attack in that race. Let's see. Finishing second in that race was Timothy Tamont. Now, Timothy, you tried to bridge across to Peter, but there just wasn't enough. When you saw Peter attack, did you think that's never going to work? Or did you realize, oh crap, I'm lost here? Oh, let's see if Timothy's got himself muted for a second there, I think.
That's good. Hello. My bad. Actually neither, because I saw him go and like, the first thing I thought was, what are the others gonna do? And there was not like immediate reaction, and then I said, okay, I'll just up the pace a little bit. And then a few people went, I think Homer went as well. So there was a few wheels to jump to, but I just ran out of the road and power, I guess, yeah. You could see my sprint graph. Whoa! And then slowly going away.
Well,
nice one though, Peter. Very nice.
I was going to say, it's good to see people taking different approaches, because sometimes I'm very guilty of this myself. You get lulled into thinking one specific way is the way it's always going to be. So it's good to see Peter doing something about it.
Definitely.
Timothy, good luck in Roman Arena. It's going to be the long race. I know you're not usually one that's a fan for these races, Timothy. So I'll let you prepare mentally. So, fourth in that last race, because Homer was third. Unfortunately, Homer is not streaming in tonight, was Victor Lundqvist. Now, let's see if Victor is getting ready. He's got his headphones, playing around with them. Vic, you came fourth in the last race. There's still Uncrashable and his ability on here, so you don't have to worry about that. How do you feel about Roman Arena? I think you got yourself muted there on your side, Vic.
Yeah, I do. Sorry, that's my mistake. No, I feel great. I actually had a sprint for once, so that was nice. Came fourth. This one, as you said, no crashing, but you never know with me. So my goal, stay with Peter, stay with Timothy. They're clearly flying, so if I can do that, I'll be happy.
Well, good luck, Vic. You can also see Beth is down in 5th. We'll let her get ready. And then, depending on the result of this, we'll go have a chat after. I see Ben Simpson is in amongst the racing. It's awesome to see my good friend down under joining in amongst the action. So thank you to you, Ben. And may the wind ever be on your side as we get underway for the second race here in Zone E. This is the low skill event, meaning Uncrashable is on as an ability as Ben Simpson, 800 watts out of the gate. We're seeing somebody here with some OTs this morning, some Wheaties, as Frank Garcia is getting in. He sat down in the previous race, just let his legs perhaps wake up, but this is where Team CVR come into their own. Team CVR has lately, together with Vixen, played a massive role here in the low skill events. They understand how to race together as a team, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. As Joyce de Smet, maybe with rested legs, has got a bit more to give. As you can see, Velocity Vixen bridging across to Ben Simpson here. The power-ups that they have available are 1 weight lifted, 1 Razor's Edge, and 2 Quantum Shifts. As she goes into the back of Ben Simpson, and that momentum loss is going to be detrimental perhaps here as Victor Lundqvist bridges across. He's got Sebastian Kuhn of Cognition. That's a rider you've got to be a bit careful of, because when he races, it's like Joyce and Sebastian. When they show up, they are the massive favorites, as you can see, Vic. Not sure what the gesturing is. He may be telling people to cross the road. You never know at this time of the hour. So you can see, changing the music, trying to get his heart rate monitor working. Timothy Tamont down in 6th place. So there's a 4-second gap here. Frank, Timothy, Peter, Thomas, Homer down here. Frank's on the front. I'm not sure if Frank is going to be the one to bridge this back. Timothy doing the Mutombo, shaking the finger, saying no, 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 no. As Santiago comes on up. This is a very crucial moment in the race. This is where you've got to make a decision. Are you bridging across? I think Frank may be playing the enforcer role for once here on Timothy. So we're watching what's happening. We're keeping a close eye because there's a group up the road. As Beth York sitting at the back here of this group, just chilling, riding her own pace. As Thomas is up there, the winner of the last race, Peter Kastrup. Massive attack from him. The question is, an all-out sprint like that for 400 meters, you heard him say it, it was maybe a bit too long. What is left in the legs as Timothy bridges across, and as my good friend would say, Grupo Compacto back at the front of the race as Timothy just nudges the wheels of Joyce and gets brought down in speed. So this has a scoring multiplier of 2, and we'll watch how it unfolds because this will set the tone coming into Mountain Bike by Jesper. A very tricky race that I raced with Vibeke Bertram this morning, and the wind in that race makes it so tough. So we're coming up to Roman Arena Hill on the front. Maybe a bit trigger happy. We got Victor Lundqvist, first time in a long time having good legs while racing in the CVRcade World Cup. He moves out of the draft and right into the back of Santiago. And Santiago puts on a bit of a move. Frank uses Quantum Shift, so he's trying to get on up, as you can see him standing up, using the leverage of the fact that he's on a smart trainer. He uses his second Quantum Shift to go right on through Timothy Tamont, right on through Victor Lundqvist, and now it's Joyce, Frank, Timothy, Vic on the front now. As again, this is great to see the sportsmanship, the gamesmanship, the plays being made at the front of the action. Further back, Peter Kastrup bridging across. You can see him just gasping for air. Ben Simpson, despite the early attack, perhaps a bit on the back foot. The same goes for Thomas Tibbling. This is his preferred zone. He's gonna get bonus points here, so it matters a lot for him to perform well. He gets 4 bonus points per stage he finishes. So that's 16 points he potentially can grab in total and move up that CVRcade World Cup ladder. Ben Simpson is down here in the blue. Santiago 4 seconds back. Come on, Santiago. Homer Thompson as well in the yellow CCC kit. It could slow down in the front. You never know. So it's very important you do not give up. As Joyce looking around, just keeping an eye. As you can see, she's got the headphones in, pretty sure she's talking to Beth at this point in the race, and they're communicating, and they're finding out the best way for Velocity Vixen to get a good result out of this. So 4 laps in total, 1 lap down, and former teammates Sebastian Kuhn and Peter Castro are finding themselves on the front. Swede is back. Thomas Tippling just on the back here. He's with Ben, but the 2 blue riders are coming back into the racing. Awesome to see Thomas and Ben doing so well here, because CVRcade is all about esports for everybody. Physical equalization enables everybody across all effort levels, abilities, price ranges to compete on a level playing ground. And seeing Thomas, seeing Ben up there, despite their not lack of experience, but despite their early journey into CVRcade racing, it's good to see them making moves this early on, and they will only get better as now Peter Castro is attacking, and Timothy is trying to work with Joyce or enforce. I'm not sure. At this point, it's so difficult to see what the hidden agendas are. You gotta be you gotta have some sort of telepathic ability to go inside people's minds to quite understand the intricacies of their game plans. Ben Simpson is at 201 equalized heart rate, so he's pushing new boundaries as Timothy, maybe that breakfast, maybe that last second sugar is starting to set in his stomach, and he's realizing this is a long race, they've got to do this, and then later tonight we're racing zone K and L. Some will come back, some might not, depending on how they perform in this one. But Peter Castro off to the races as he passes the Pantheon on the left. That's where all the racers and riders are warming up for these races. That's where the gladiators are getting ready to be unleashed. So a 6-second gap as now further back Joyce, Sebastian and Ben Simpson comes back up here. The Australian rider racing for I believe it's the Aussie Hump Day ride. Timothy Tamont comes through as well. So it is a seesaw affair. One moment one side is up, the next moment the other is up, and everybody is trying to play it to their advantage here. You can see the Cognition riders. Victor Lundqvist comes flying by, but he gets told to sit back down as the other riders see it. So in these low skill events, you want to draft the other riders, but if you're in the vicinity of other riders, they have the opportunity to slow you down by going into your lane. It's a gamesmanship, gameplay mechanic in the game that's fair and square, and you've got to be aware of it as Victor and Ben move to the front. 10 seconds up the road is Peter Castro. Is he going to try and sustain this gap? You can see the yellow CCC colors. This is difficult. We saw Frank achieve this on Hypnotic Highway, but at the very end, he was joined by Alison Kubota, who then worked together to stay away. But Peter is all alone, and they've still got the better of 2.5 laps remaining here. As he stands up, applies the pressure, and we look further back. On Roman Arena Hill, it's Victor Lundqvist in the CVRcade World Cup colors going on to the attack. Timothy on the right. Does Joyce have anything to follow this up as Thomas T and Homer T are near the back? 1,000 equalized watts from Joyce to Smith. And just if eyes could kill, if a stare could break glass, you can definitely see that Joyce, she's concentrated. She wants this one. She didn't get a chance to compete in the first one, so making up for that, you've got this one. It's Ben Simpson using his Racer's Edge power-up to try and get back on terms. He's 8 seconds back. We look through the shoulder of Timothy Tamont, but he looks to be a defeated man coming up to the end of 2 laps remaining. He shakes his head, but his body tells a different story. So we'll see if the mustache man can get back in there and prove everybody he's still got it. Timothy Tamont in this group with Sebastian, with Joyce, and it is Victor Lundqvist. He's got a 3-second gap, but he's got to make a decision. Does he wait for the following group, or does he commit? Because up the road, you can just see a faint yellow jersey. That is the Flying Dutchman, and he is absolutely just cruising at altitude right now as the wind is in his sails. And he's trying to get away. Victor chooses to change glasses. I'm not sure if that's to try and hide his tell by how much he's suffering in his eyes, or maybe he just sweat through one pair of glasses. He had to do a quick pit stop, McLaren style. So, Peter Castro Dutchman, Team CCC, at 400 equalized watts. You know, if they're above 367, that's where they're really having to dig deep into their energy reserves. And the strength in numbers, the law of numbers says the many is stronger than the few. But I don't know. I mean, if I had to take a bet, like these three riders, they're going to have a tough time cooperating. Because Joyce, Timothy, Sebastian, despite all their flags sharing the same colors, I'm not sure that they have the best intentions for everybody in mind. They're all thinking, how can I save the most energy and get myself the best performance? As Sebastian moves to the left, and I think he may be loading up an attack, and he is. And Timothy moves onto the wheel. Joyce moves onto the wheel. And everybody in this group just making sure as Joyce slams the door again on Timothy Tamont. But I think I might be supporting him. So 700 equalized watts as Sebastian is not letting go. So 10 seconds up the road is the Swede Victor Lundqvist. And Peter Kastrup could take back-to-back wins. But it's still early on, considering you've got weight lifted and racer's edge. Timothy Tamont giving the guillotine sign. But how much does he have to lose? Throws in the towel. Let's just take a second to just remember the ride fuel of champions here as the sugar. So if you're racing, make sure to fuel properly to get ready in the racing, as this was seconds prior to the racing starting. Timothy Tamont paying for that effort now is on the front. Peter Kastrup has only got 4 seconds on the charging Viking. Victor Lundqvist, he's up here. He's had some ups and downs in his CVRcade racing experience. We've seen him on Country Rally. We've seen him on Sudden Lane Change. We've seen him on Dust Bowl Crid. He has trouble keeping the rubber side down, but in this race, he doesn't quite have to worry about that. But the visual exhaustion on his face is starting to show. His heart rate doesn't seem to be fully functioning, so he may get disqualified towards the end anyway. But I think that is a thought in the back of the mind, because you're racing, you're producing the watts, and you just want to take that win while it counts. So we're going to have a Joyman near the front. And now, Thomas Tibbling here in the blue, using his racer's edge, accelerating. He's at 194 equalized heart rate. So his heart is just going like this right now. It's beating at the speed of light. 10 seconds up the road. Homer Thompson's just off the back. Santiago's off the back. Timothy Tamont in the broom wagon. And we see, can Thomas Tippling get back up to the front? Because there's Joyce and there's Sebastian Kuhn. They've successfully detached the one Belgian from Team Cycling Hub, Timothy Tamont. Can they do it to the other rider in this group as well? Sebastian Cognition Colors accelerating on Roman Arena Hill as he's trying to get up. It's 22 seconds to the front, and it is a battle between the yellow CCC colors and the green and black CVRcade World Cup colors. See the matching kit. Shake of the head from Victor Lundqvist. Not sure if that's a poker tell, as I'm not even sure what half those things mean anymore. As you can see, both of them starting to look at each other. They can't cat and mouse too much, because they've got Sebastian, they've got Joyce further back, both at 190 equalized heart rate. So they're working relatively hard to keep the chasing group at bay down there, because you've got Thomas, you've got Homer, you've got Ben Simpson. So these two, who's going to be the first to blow the killing strike here? As you can see, Peter slowing down, Victor slowing down, both looking around. They've got 20 seconds to work with, so they've got some gap, they've got some leeway as they enter the last lap of racing. And to everybody watching out there, I hope you've got your snack, I hope you've got your coffee, your tea, your preferred beverage, because this is scraping up to be a good finale. As up here the front, Peter is still on it. Joyce just riding her own pace, around 280 equalized watts. Not doing too much, not doing too little, keeping the chasing group at bay here. As Timothy Tamont is accelerating again, so finding a second wind here, 1,000 equalized watts, maybe just trying to hang on and save some sort of form from this race, as you can have a bad race, but in an Omnium, it's about consistency. As Peter just tests the legs, and now Victor once again changes glasses. Are we going, is this like Clark Kent, Superman, and you're waiting and you're changing personas? We'll see whether the cape comes out to play or not. 2.6 Ks to go, as this is a man who is absolutely on the rivet. Peter Kastrup, 26 seconds back to Sebastian and Joyce. They would have to seriously slow things down. We have seen it before when it comes to CVRcade racing. We've seen Matti Pikelny shut the door on Kayla Laguna to let Sebastian come back. I don't think Peter or Victor would do that in this sort of racing, so we're looking at a heads-up finish to this one. Meanwhile, at the back, Thomas Tibbling is getting back into that chasing group, and he could come over the top. He doesn't get streaming points from streaming in tonight, unless he's streaming into the widget in the game, so he's losing out on some bonus points there, but regardless of that, he's coming into his own now, as Victor and Peter are trading blows. 2 kilometers to go. Who's got any sort of power-ups left? Who's got quantum shifts? Is Victor? I think, could somebody please order an umbrella to Victor Lundqvist, because there's a slight forecast of rain as he is feeling the downpour coming down. This is what CVRcade does to you. You've got to have fun. You got to be able to see, but I mean, when you're wearing glasses and you're racing, I recently had to get glasses as well, and if you've seen from the Mixo LFG event, it's not always that easy. So Peter on the front, Victor second wheel, 1.6 Ks to go. Peter in prime position, he's leading at the front. In the chasing group, Joyce de Smit and Sebastian Kuhn still there. Beth, Frank, Timothy further down. Sadio Ikiba also further down. So we get ready. I think it comes down to whoever blows the first strike on Roman Arena Hill. I think we could see an opportunity for them to attack away and bridge away and gap the other person until the end, because there's about 1 kilometer to go from when they hit the bottom of the hill. So we'll see. On board, Victor Lundqvist. Peter's already gotten 1 win today on Echelon. We saw him attack from far out, and we get ready. Sebastian Kuhn, he's 40 seconds down, but he's used Racer's Edge, and he's had to attack. We keep an eye. We go and have a look as Peter Kastrup attacks on the front. So here they go. We're trying to cover all the action. Peter standing up, and look at the acceleration being caused as Victor uses Quantum Shift and weight lifted as well here. So he's going to come around. He slams. Oh, he doesn't slam into the back. He has 4 kilometers an hour more than Peter Kastrup, and they both survived Roman Arena Hill. And they've got 700 meters to go. Sebastian Kuhn will look back again. Does Joyce have anything left? She stands up, but nothing is coming through the pedals. No! Oh, such a shame back there. As it looks to be a technical miscalibration or some sort of issue happening. Sorry, so much action that we're trying to cover at once. Peter on the left, Victor on the right. Peter's already gone long once today. He could do it again. So we look at Peter, we look at Victor, 400 meters to go. Peter stands up, he gets ready, he applies the pressure, Racer's Edge has been popped. Peter on the front, does Victor have anything left? It is Peter, and it's going to be Peter Kastrup taking the win. Victor not happy with that one. Peter can breathe a sigh of relief, wipe the sweat off his face, and take as Victor uses Quantum Shift. So it comes down to your power-up usage in the end, and we'll see as Joyce gets back on. Joyce has somehow come around Sebastian Kuhn, and she's got to stay on it to the finish line. 700 equalized watts. She looks over into the mini-map, and she thinks, I think she's got it, 3 seconds back. But is Ben Simpson going to come around? You look through, you can see the blue of the Australian. Ben Simpson now, it's going to be close. Joyce sits up, she can take it as to the line. Oh no, it's going to be Sebastian Kuhn with Ben just after that. Secondary positions, excellent here as Thomas, Santiago, Homer and the rest will come over the line. Roman Arena never disappoints, and let's watch the sprint one more time. Oh my goodness. Coming into the sprint, I think Victor used his Racer's Edge on Roman Arena Hill, which ended up costing him the win here. As not having it is the difference. That power-up, so strong. You can see the shake of the head. Victor, not there, doesn't have it. Quick thumbs up, just a little thumbs up. Peter takes his head down, swipes the sweat off his face. He is out on a mission today, and so far, 2 for 2. So, Congratulations, Peter. That is the second victory of the racing so far. Man, when you were out there on your own, well, I mean, was there ever a point where you thought, what have I gotten myself into?
All the time. I was just looking at the group behind me and see if one or two riders would bridge. And I was really hoping for that, so I was glad Victor did. Very, very big effort by him. And then we had a big gap to the group, and we can just sprint it. And luckily I had one more power up left than Victor, so he couldn't do anything anymore, I think.
It was a good race. It was really fascinating to watch all the stories unfolding. But now, Peter, we head in, and I see you're about to ride into Kastrup Corner, so famously named after you. We've not to see any crashes yet today, but that could change. Have you practiced mountain bike course by Jesper now? Do you know it inside out, or how do you feel about this one?
No, I never practice. I just do the races and practice by learning, and learning by practice. I don't know. And I still keep crashing, so probably on this one there might be a few, but when I pay attention, I might be okay. I'll try.
I love it, Peter. I'll let you catch your breath again because we caught you just after the racing. Victor, in that previous race, that sprint, what happened? You were there, and then there was a little thumbs up. What happened?
Well, I'm still out of breath. But no, what happened was Peter went and he got a big gap, and I decided, silly me, to bridge that gap. So the reason why I didn't have racer's edge in that sprint was because I used it to bridge to him, and that was probably the hardest effort I've done in months. So I am completely dead, but still excited for the next two races. So yeah, in that sprint, kudos to Peter. Yeah, much more in the tank than I did. I was just happy to be on his wheel. Like, I'm second. I'll take that as a win, honestly, especially on the long race. So I'm happy, and hopefully I'll survive the next two races.
Vic, we asked you this question Thursday. The bookies are laying the line. Over, under 3 crashes on mountain bike by Jesper.
Oh, unlimited. I can barely see. I have so much sweat in my eye. I think I've switched glasses about 10 times because I couldn't see anything. So, I don't know. It's just going to pray, hopefully. But if you're going to bet for more than 3 for sure.
I think there's a reason why you see Timothy and Tim, all these riders racing with sweatbands. So we can get clean up in aisle 2 for Victor Lundqvist. That'd be great. Good luck, Vic, as we watch the racing gets underway. Joyce, though, has quietly moved up the rankings despite not really racing the first one. She's up there, and now we watch the racing once more get underway. Peter Kastrup, Joyce, both off to the races, but it's the 3rd out of 4 races. It is the technical race, and it's the high skill event, and we're going to see bunch of plays being made. We're going to see very early on Sadeo moving to the right. Now, Sadeo was broadcasting in earlier, but unfortunately it looked like his webcam is frozen. But it's good to see Ikeba back in because he is one of the legends in the CVRcade World Cup history. Is Frank Garcia finding himself on the front. We're doing 6 laps of the mountain bike course by Jesper, and it's Frank Garcia and Sadeo Ikeba. Ikeba does race for Cognition, so we'll see when he gets that kit in the game to match his teammates Alison Kubota, Matti Pikelny, Sebastian Kuhn, etc. There's a wind in this race, so you've got to try and find the right position at all times. It's the mountain bikes theme. It's small lanes, it's condensed lanes, it's a lot of nerves, it's a lot of risks being taken, but you get rewarded for actively pulling off a good risk. As Thomas Tibbling takes a tumble, Frank uses his 1 corner caper here. So you have 1 corner caper and 1 wind at your back. Now, the wind at your back power-up is very fascinating because the wind at your back power-up, if you use it correctly in a moment of headwind, you can turn a headwind into a tailwind as Frank slows down Peter Kastrup ever so slightly there, just slowing down his momentum as you look further back. Santiago takes a tumble. Ben Simpson is down there, and we look at the runner-up coming into the race, Victor Lundqvist. This is the highest scoring multiplier of the evening, and he is grinding those gears. He's got nothing left in the tank. Joyce DeSmit, she's up there as well, contesting for the podium. But with Frank moving on up, if he wins this, he's back into the results. As Sadeo gets passed on the left by Joyce DeSmit. She is ticking them off one by one by one. She's got Sebastian on the left as well. So she is quite cleverly getting that bit of drafting here as the win. Oh, she crashes down. Oh, I think that facial reaction right there is gotta be up there as one of the best. As you can see, I think she just thinks she's past Sebastian. She is not, as she then moves to the left, and then the face goes, oh, I made a mistake. And she now has to get back in and try and make up for that. But Peter Castro has taken the lead on the front. He's passed Frank Garcia, he's passed Hideo Ikeba, and now it's Sebastian Kuhn, Timothy Tamont, and Peter Kastrup on the front as Homer Thompson chooses to have a picnic on the side. So does Hideo Ikeba. He says, wait, I've got the breath, as he also takes a crash. Now Victor back into fourth, Sebastian is up there, Frank Garcia, despite the early effort, is now down in fifth, as is Ben Simpson, now in a red collar, coming on through. Victor currently in second place, but the man running away with it. We have not yet to this day seen a broadcasted race where one person has won all 4 stages. That could be changed today because the Flying Dutchman took a courageous win in stage 1. He took a sprint finish win in stage 2. And now the only 2 that look to be able to upset him are Timothy Tamont and Sebastian Kuhn. But how much do they have left? They've still got their power-ups, corner caper, and wind at their back. But a 5-second gap, 6-second gap, that can be tough to make up as we look around. Joyce DeSmit, it is close all around here as Peter Kastrup uses wind at his back this time around. So changes that headwind into a tailwind, and he chooses to sit up and rest as he hits the incline, comes over the top. Now the gap has grown out to 10 seconds. Who's got anything to react? Joyce did take that tumble earlier on, and she's now working to get back on up. She's got Ben Simpson ahead of her, and Hideo Ikeba behind as Peter Kastrup has crashed. Peter went down. Not sure just exactly what happened there, but that opens the door to the riders behind him. Timothy Tamont will see that and then take that bit of inspiration. He chooses the inside lane here. He's got to be careful because from my personal experience, when you find yourself in this lane, sometimes you make a mistake, but he barely avoids the rocks on the left. So we are almost back together at the front with 2 laps to go. Sebastian Kuhn, he's riding himself back into the race, back into the Omnium, but Peter has got a quite significant gap at the front. Oh my goodness, mountain bike by Jespo, Roman Arena, Echelon, all 3 races have been thrilling so far here in the CVRcade Zone E Racing as Peter comes on through. Sebastian Kuhn opting to use corner caper here, so you can see him now coming on through, and this is forcing Peter having to react to this move as he is coming over the top. As you can see now, he's trying to keep everyone at bay. Ben Simpson unfortunately also takes a tumble. Sebastian passes Beth, so does Peter, and we're on the penultimate lap. Once they cross the finish line, I believe they've only got 1 more lap remaining. It's 1.4 kilometers to go. We'll see. 6 laps in total of this course. It can be brutal as now Victor uses wind at his back. He tries to change that headwind into a tailwind, but the squinting of his eyes, maybe it wasn't a headwind, maybe it was a tailwind already. We don't know. 7 seconds up to Sebastian, 10 seconds up to Peter, as you've got to throw in everything you've got at this point. You're racing for a chance to qualify into the bracketed session. And Peter is racing to make history. Can he take all 4 races in an Omnium, in a broadcasted Omnium? That we're yet to see. As after this, we head into space. We fuel up the rocket and we go into space and going on to Saturn. 4 seconds back to to Sebastian Kuhn now. Last lap of racing as Peter is spinning out those legs. He brings up the speed, and Timothy Tamont in fourth. And with Joyce as well here further back, you can see the two just coming through the corner now, both playing for secondary positions, but it's close. Second through fifth and sixth is relatively close towards the top now as we watch. Victor passes Sharon Hackathorn out there. He's got 6 seconds up to Sebastian, while Sebastian has got 3 seconds up to Peter Kastrup. It's the last lap, last half a lap. They turn from a headwind, I believe, into a tailwind coming back here as Timothy and Joyce both using their power-ups here to try and get through. Timothy uses wind at his back. Joyce uses wind at her back as well. But oh my goodness, I think it's going to be Peter Kastrup on the front. Not crashing, not coming through. He's still got corner cable left. Sebastian is near the back as well. It's close between Victor and Sebastian for that second place in this Omnium. But Peter Kastrup, once more, despite crashing, can use his corner caper and has taken the third consecutive victory here in Zone E. Now, secondary positions, Victor Lundqvist will be next to cross the line here. He slows down, he uses corner caper, and he will cross the finish line. Thumbs up. And now further back, Joyce DeSmith has got corner caper. Timothy Tamont does not, and she will cross the line. Timothy, fourth, got corner caper, but seems to just be ridden off the pace, as that is all they wrote for mountain bike by Jesper. Third race of the evening. As you can see, Peter Kastrup takes another victory here tonight. He's got 30, 60 plus 90 points. So max total out of possible points so far goes to the Flying Dutchman. Now he's got one more challenge ahead of him as the Swedish chef tonight, the Swedish dishwasher comes on through, and with corner caper, thumbs up, just wasn't enough towards the end. So, Peter, 3 out of 3 so far. You did crash. Are we going to see 4 for 4 tonight for the first time ever in a broadcaster stream?
Oh, not making any promises. Feeling really tired now, so. But I said that the last time, so we'll see. Maybe I can make it work, but no guarantees.
What was the secret to a good performance on the previous race? Because you were out the front, and despite crashing, you still maintained your gap.
I think I had a better breakfast than Timothy. I don't know. I kind of feel good today. And you have those days where you seem to be able to go forever. And I think I have one of those days, but maybe it has ended now. We'll see.
I like it. We're watching the highlights as we're coming on through. It's off to an early start. Good luck in the last race, Peter. You have a significant gap at the front, but you're closely contested with Victor Lundqvist. Joyce is also out there, and we'll see how it pans out. So here are the highlights of the last race. Joyce did take that crash, and so did Peter of CCC as he gets back in. He was 12 seconds ahead of Sebastian at this point, and despite wind at the back, it wasn't enough for Sebastian. As with 400 meters to go, you can see Timothy, you can see Joyce both trying to get rid of each other, and despite Timothy's efforts, it was Joyce DeSmith who got the better of him in the end here. So we come in to the fourth and final race of the evening in space on Saturn, and it is close between the second and sixth place. Peter is leading by about 38 points down to Victor Lundqvist. But we've heard enough from Victor. I think we're going to go on here just from Joyce, because Joyce has been slowly moving up the rankings as well. Joyce, it's close down in the secondary positions. How confident are you in your ability to race the Saturn track?
I only raced it once, so, but it's not that long, and I think I have a pretty good chance to be at the podium. I don't know, we'll see.
I like it. In the previous race, we also saw one of your best reactions ever when you crashed into Sebastian. What happened there when you took a tumble?
Yeah, I really thought I overtook him and I wanted to take the draft, but obviously not. So that was not a great move, but I managed to get somehow a bit back. So.
Well, it does happen. Thank you, Joyce. I believe Channel 1 has just joined us, so thank you so much for joining in, Channel 1. What you're watching is the CVRcade World Cup. Riders from across the world are racing and competing online thanks to physical equalization in physical esports. We have raced 3 races so far, and we're about to enter the 4th and decisive race. We've got Beth from the US, she's racing in. We've got Peter Castro from the Netherlands, he's been dominating tonight. Timothy Tamont, who Peter claims he's had a better breakfast than, is in the racing. Victor Lundqvist from Sweden is also racing in. Joyce de Smit, as you just heard before, from Belgium. And then always awesome Frank Garcia is also in here. So, if you are enjoying this, if you're enjoying what you're watching here in on CVR World Cup, as Frank uses his power-up inertia. So, these racers, these riders are using their bikes as controllers. They're using their legs as the analog sticks. And the harder they push down their legs, the faster their avatar goes. So it's gamified fitness, and there is the esports element when you're racing for $25,000. So that's a 9-week long World Cup. We're currently in the second week of the open session, where riders, they qualify, they gain points, they get bonus points, etc. And then they qualify for the bracketed session. In week 1 alone, we paid out $2,000, and the prize leader so far, I believe, Tim Fulford, with $290 from riding his bike from his bedroom, his laboratory, wherever in the world he is racing. As you can see, Joyce and Frank getting off to the races. If you want to get involved, and this sounds interesting to you, as we're watching the last race of the evening unfold, you can sign up at CVRcade.com and get in on the action. Don't worry if you don't have a bike. Don't worry if you don't have the setup. You can get that all through the hardware store, either on the website or in the game. The game is free to play. So, the story so far of the evening. The man you're seeing on the screen right now, the Flying Dutchman, Peter Castro, has been undefeated in 3 out of 3 races, and we're heading into the 4th. In the history of CVRcade World Cup racing, here broadcasted on Mixer, we've yet to see a single individual take every single win in an Omnium, all 4. That could change. But if Frank and Joyce have anything to say, they're saying, nah, not gonna happen. As Joyce takes another crash, as I think she comes on through the corner a bit too hot. She tried to move into the inside, and a costly mistake. But we're doing 3 laps of Saturn, so perhaps she can make up for it. Victor Lundqvist, Timothy Tamont are here in the chasing group as they're on the hill. Now, in this race, they're given certain power-ups. Frank has already used weightlifted, he's already used inertia as he's off to an early start. There's also a wind. You can see the wind particles coming through the screen. So when they're... Oh, it's Victor! Oh my goodness. I think words that should not be repeated. We'll catch the highlight afterwards. But that is the emotion that's on display here when you're racing for real money. $25,000. And this is what happens when you make mistakes. When you overlap the wheels. Because it's a cycling, not a simulator. Well, you can overlap your wheels and you can take crashes. Now, there are power-ups that can prevent it, there are abilities that can prevent it, but as Victor Lundqvist just showed there, when you're on the rivet and you're at max capacity, you sometimes have a cloud of judgment. So, looking at the scoreboard, which you can see down below next to the mini-map, Peter Castro so far at the top, but that's before any bonus points are added in. Sebastian Kuhn, second, close up there. Joyce, Victor and Joyce, the difference is 0.6 of a point. 0.6 of a point between Joyce de Smit in 3rd and Victor in 4th. So it's going to be close between them here as we watch it. Timothy Tamont and Frank Garcia is close down in 5th and 6th. So they will be fighting it out as Peter Castro in the yellow comes on through. I'll see what Frank tries to do. I think Frank may just try to put a block on, and he does, as Frank just takes a crash as well. So Frank trying to slow down the momentum of Peter Kastrup. 3.2 kilometers to go as Sebastian Kuhn flies on by, and he uses inertia. Now, inertia is a power-up that sets your speed at whatever speed you're doing at the time of using the power-up for 10 seconds. Now, this is great if you're coming up to a hill. It is great if you're coming into a headwind, which we are now. So you accelerate, you go like crazy, and then when you're at your peak power, your terminal velocity, that is when you get back up. And we're seeing the same thing being done by Peter as he is accelerating, getting back on. But I think he's keeping his inertia. So we're on the second of 3 laps, and we're about to head into the last one at the front. It is old teammates Peter and Sebastian Kuhn. Now, Sebastian is into second place. Joyce, because she's out of second place, she's now down to 4th, and Victor Lundqvist moves up to 3rd. Timothy moves further up as well as we come onto the hill. Old teammates, good friends, Sebastian and Peter, as Sebastian uses weight lifted as well. He is holding no punches, and so does Peter Kastrup. Makes them 30 kilograms lighter. Now, Joyce de Smet out of Belgium, the young one, she's trying to catch up to Peter and Sebastian, but as the incline kicks up, that's 7% out on course. She feels that in the bike, and she has to act accordingly. Now, Channel 1, if you haven't already left, it's good to have you here. If you're enjoying the action and you're just mildly interested, all I can recommend is clicking that follow button down below. As Joyce moves to the right, she moves to the left, she just gets through unscathed, doesn't crash. But if you click that follow button down below, you get updated whenever we go live. And we go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and we go live multiple times a day. And so you want to watch all the physical esports action, you can watch it live or on demand by clicking that follow button down below. Homer Thompson is on a good one. You can see Timothy Tomont and Victor Lundqvist as Victor crashes again. Further down, shake of the head by Timothy. Shake of the head by Victor as well. So when you're trying to do the patented Frank Garcia, I guess chicane at the end, you sometimes get burned. So it's a 3-up finish here. Joyce, Peter, Sebastian with a 20-second gap down as Joyce is accelerating. She's giving it everything here. Is she loading up to do an inertia? She is staying on at 700, 1100, 1200, and there she goes. The inertia power-up is now being used at 56 k's an hour. She rests her head down, and we watch Peter Kastrup. He's accelerating again. I think he's yet to use his inertia. We're on the last lap of racing, and Joyce de Smet is trying to break up the invincible. She's trying to break up Peter Kastrup's perfect 4-for-4. So this is the Dutch versus Belgian fight. Who is it gonna be? Because thanks to physical equalization, everybody across all experiences, across all abilities, all price ranges are able to ride and race together. It doesn't matter if you have a bike from 1991 that's got rusty chains on there. If you put it on, it will perform. That's what CVRcade is all about. Breaking down those barriers to entries. Joyce comes through. She's a bit hot. Oh, she knows. She knows. All that work. She still got a chance to make it up, but she came in quite hot into that corner. Some corners have tighter radiuses, and just like in real life, whether you're in a car or on a bicycle, if you don't take the corner well, your back end will start sliding out due to the nature laws or physics, or you know what I mean. If you come into a corner and you've gone too quick, you know exactly what's gonna happen as Peter on the front applies the pressure. Joyce is on it, but doesn't look to be much left in the tank. Sebastian Kuhn here is the only one who can stop the Flying Dutchman from making it 4 out of 4. And so we will see now, 4 seconds up. Peter Kastrup is making CVRcade World Cup history. 35 k's on the left, 34 k's on the left, 100 meters to go. 4-for-4 as Sebastian crashes. He realizes he's done it. Smile on his face, sits up, and he can enjoy this moment. First person to take a broadcasted stream zone in the CVRcade World Cup and to take every single So as Joyce de Smet almost catches Sebastian Kuhn on the line, you can see she knows. She almost had that one. We look further down. Victor Lundqvist. He's got Homer Thompson up here. He's got Sadeo Ikiba. Sprint coming up. He tries to do the Frank Garcia once more. 36, 37 k's an hour. He's got Sadeo Ikiba up the road. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. It's coming down. 1200 equalized watts. But running out of real estate. Shake of the head. Just didn't have it for that one. As Timothy Tamot will beat Homer Thompson to the line, and so far down. Great racing as we watch the instant replays of that one once more. Whew! That's it. That's CVRcade World Cup, everybody. We're racing every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You see Peter Kastrup, when he sees his old teammate Sebastian Kuhn crash, allows himself the realization that he's won on Echelon, he's won on Roman, he's won on mountain bike, and he also takes the win on Saturn. As that is a tired man. Joyce coming over the line here, almost pips Sebastian Kuhn, but it just wasn't enough, as she will take third place. And then the fights for secondary positions between Victor Lundqvist and Sadeo Ikiba. You can see the power being pushed down, the bike bouncing up and down, as Sadeo Ikiba, the Ikiba Shuffle legend he is, will beat Victor Lundqvist. Whew, Peter. Congratulations, that was absolutely legendary. How do you feel being the first person to take a broadcast night of racing in the CVRcade World Cup to go undefeated?
I thought Tim had done it before, but I'm not sure.
He got 3 out of 4. He didn't take 4.
Okay. I think I should quit riding on CVRcade now, because
completed
I don't
it.
do it better than this, so yeah, I thought in the last race Joyce would have it, and I was kind of hoping she would crash. Not really, of course, because I would like to have seen her win that race, and but she crashed, so that opened the way to me to make it 4 out of 4. So yeah, happy with that.
It was really close on Saturday. I mean, it was a seesaw affair, back and forth, Peter. I mean, talk me through your facial expression, because when Sebastian went down, I saw probably the biggest smile I've ever seen you do. What happened?
Sebastian was riding really strong, and I thought he would beat me for sure. And you can't help yourself that when an opponent crashes and he's near you, yeah, you smile, and it's not it's not because you hate him, or I really like the guy, and he's very friendly, and he races, yeah, in a way I really like. So he just tries to go on at the front, and yeah, so it was a pity that he crashed, and the same goes for Joyce. So I would rather have it in a sprint, the 3 of us, or maybe Joyce in front. She was in front, and I had a hard time catching her. So yeah, if she would have won, it would have been great. Yeah.
Well, sportsman to the last. Peter, you race CVRcade a lot. I think with Channel 1 here and Mixer watching, explain to me the joys of, because it's 1 o'clock where you are when we started. Why do you get on the bike? Why is this something you come back and do week in and week out, especially CVRcade?
Yeah, I don't know what the team did to this game, but it's really addictive. And I think it has something to do with the skills you need to do well in this game. Of course, you have to pedal and you have to put down the watts, but, well, it's at your level, so everyone can do that. But it's the skills. You have to be careful in the turns and watch for other riders, don't crash into them. So it engages you in a way other platforms don't. And it's really fun. It just keeps, yeah, wanting you to do more and be here again the next time. So, but I won't be racing this evening, if that's what you ask.
Well, I think you've earned yourself a whatever Timothy had for breakfast this morning. So, thank you, Peter. Let's go and just go through the rankings, because a lot of people were broadcasting in today, and we're only doing Zone E now, and then later tonight we're doing some more racing. Victor, if you're able to hear me, that was I think Victor may have just left at the end there. So I think a bit of a rage quit perhaps. But Joyce, that was quite the race. That was the finish with you and Sebastian. You almost had him towards the end. How did you like racing Sony tonight?
Yeah, it was great. I did a lot of stupid things tonight. In the first race, I had the keyboard issue. And then the second and the last one now, I did some really stupid crashes. But this is great racing it. And just like Peter said, it's just really addictive. Like, why do youngsters play Fortnite? Just because it's that competitive thing with a lot of skills in it. Just great.
I like the fact that this is compared to Fortnite. Now just imagine all the kids running around with their turbo trainers and everything. That's brilliant, Joyce. Joyce, I think in the end you end up coming fourth. Are we going to see you back here on Mixer tonight for Zone KNL?
No, I don't think so. One race a day or one onion a day is enough.
I respect that. I see Timothy Tamont maybe doing some dark matter velo laps, so we're just going to have a chat with him while he's trying to set his own record pace. Timothy, talk me through your night so far of racing. How did you like Sony?
My night? I just woke up, man.
Wow.
Just first of all, congratulations to Peter. That was amazing what he did today. I'd like to get to know like what he got for breakfast. I'll need to try that at last. If you could send that in a message, it would be great. Now, I got fifth, so maybe with bonus points because this was my preferred zone. You wouldn't say by the efforts I did, but yeah. Just had nothing today and still getting fifth, maybe fourth with the bonus points. I'll still take it. It's still good.
Well, that's what it's all about, Timothy. I'll let you get back to your dark matter velo laps as I can see you doing them. Now, let's go through all the highlights of today because Sony has been a brilliant day of racing as we start with the always awesome funny clip here of Timothy showing just what he fueled himself on. So we had 4 races ahead. We started with Echelon, which was won by Peter Kastrup in a very early attack as he changed the order of the hierarchy. Because usually on these no skill events, you see guys waiting for the very final moment, possibly within the last 100 meters. But with 400 meters to go, Peter Kastrup said, "No, I'm going far," and he did so. He attacked away and he managed to keep Timothy Tamont and the chasing pack at bay by just a few meters. It was so close, but it was brilliant racing. So this was the CVRcade World Cup Zone E highlights, where riders from across the world are racing their bikes at their home, at their spin class, wherever they've got their turbo trainer set up, either physically or non-physically, competing for the prize pot of $25,000 here as we head on to Roman Arena. It was a stage that looked very much like a real life cycling race. In the beginning, you have a peloton, everyone trying to make moves, everyone trying to make sure they get into the early breakaway. And to begin with, it was the Flying Dutchman Peter Kastrup that managed to separate himself as Timothy Tamont, just realizing he just didn't have it there. It's Peter Kastrup coming into the sprint versus Victor Lundqvist. The race's edge really making the difference. You heard Victor say he used his to bridge across. Shake of the head, doesn't have it. Peter Kastrup taking the second win here in Roman Arena for Team CCC. Victor Lundqvist using Quantum Shift as he crossed over the line. Secondary positions was also close here in Roman with Joyce in third. Then we headed on to mountain bike by Jesper. Course that was 6 laps long. It had wind, it had power-ups, it had all the action. It was a back and forth affair. As you can see, Joyce, she's on the outside of Sebastian Kuhn and she thinks she's in the clear. She thinks the wheel's ahead, but you can see it's not. And when she realizes the facial expression. That is CVRcade for you. It's all about the small micro decisions affecting the macro game, as Peter also taking a tumble, but it didn't end up costing him in the end, as now with 400 meters to go, a mountain bike by Jesper, Timothy and Joyce using their win at back power-ups to get away. As you can see, Timothy looking over. In the end, it was Joyce getting the back of her fellow Belgian comrade as Peter Kastrup comes through the corner. Thanks to corner caper, can rest up, know he's not going to crash, and then be safe over the finish line. Secondary positions, Sebastian Kuhn, Victor Lundqvist, Joyce de Smith, Timothy Tamont, all close. It was great to see Ben Simpson, see Thomas Tibbling, see Sadeo, and see Santiago out there, as well as all the Americans getting up early their morning. As we can see, Frank Garcia attacked early on, Joyce making a mistake there. You heard her say she made some silly mistakes in the racing tonight. As we come in and we show you another quote-unquote silly mistake, as Victor Lundqvist just forgets to look to the left as he crashes, hits the wheel of Homer Thompson and Timothy Tamont. Here we go, 3 kilometers to go as Joyce de Smith, Peter Kastrup, they make contact with Frank Garcia despite his early attack, and Frank trying to block the road. He ends up locking wheels with Peter and takes a rest by the side of the road, and so does Victor Lundqvist here, mistiming the chicane on Saturn. So it's all about making the right moves, and then thanks to the inertia power-up, Joyce loads up the sprint, gets ready, gets to the ultimate or maximum speed she can get, and then she gets a 10-second rest while holding 56 kilometers an hour. But that was later negated when she came into a corner, coming in way too hot, and you see her realizing it, and then thank God there are guardrails in Saturn, because otherwise she'd be floating out in orbit. And with 200 meters to go, coming into the last corner, Peter Kastrup, Sebastian Kuhn, both fighting for the finish. And as Peter realizes he's taking the victory here, and Zone E, of course, it's preliminary. You gotta wait for the bonus points to be added. So head over to cycledata.cvrworldcup.com to get all the updated results as you watch Joyce and Sebastian fight for the finish line, and Sebastian just keeps off Joyce at the end. And then you see Victor versus CVRcade to close out the night. He's got the washing up liquid, but it'll only be himself who will be needing a cleanse after that one, as that was all the racing at hand tonight. So if you did enjoy it, head over to CVRcade.com, sign up, download, and tonight we'll be back with more racing as we do Zone K and Zone L. We're back in 5 hours, so click the follow button, and we'll see you then. But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.